Hello and welcome to Gameday. On our third episode, we're going to learn a lot about community building. We're going to learn about hip hop culture. We're going to learn about how to build a business from scratch, just working on and relying on a content strategy. And for that today, we have my good friend Pedro, founder and director of Urban Roosters. Pedro.
Hi, Kike.
Thank you for joining us in NGF. And for those that doesn't know Urban Roosters, we're gonna give a couple of numbers, which are really impressive. It's incredible what you have built over the years. 870,000 concurrent viewers has been your peak record on a live stream. More than 84.4 million accumulated audience, a reach of over 22 million, 200,000 tickets sold in the last season with over 248 events delivered in 6 different countries, and 5.35 million YouTube subscribers. And actually, I think it's more, it's 5.5.
Yeah, right now it's 5.5, yeah.
Which, it's incredible. So, in today's episode, we're going to see how you have really changed the way hip-hop is consumed and how, and especially revolutionize the way content and talent get discovered, which is pretty impressive. Your mission is to build and create an ecosystem that allows to discover and enhance the talent through the culture of hip-hop, with the vision to become the biggest platform, the biggest community in the hip-hop culture in the world. And when we were discussing before the podcast what the future look like, it looks pretty impressive, the other areas that you're looking to get into. Today, as I said, we're going to talk about community building. We're going to talk a lot about hip-hop and music, how to scale a business, and creativity, which is a key part of the business. So, Pedro, for those that doesn't know Urban Roosters, just give us an introduction. What is Urban Roosters? What is it today, and where everything started?
Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you very much, Kike, for the time and actually for the time to really have a wonderful conversation, because we know each other for a while, but I think we never properly seated to talk about the industry, Urban Roosters, and just shared a common vision, which were the content creation, community building, and how platforms or digital IPs are growing and competing in a highly competitive ecosystem, just like any other entertainment or sport IP nowadays. And I think, and for those who doesn't know a little bit about Urban Roosters started as a passion of both me and the co-founder Asier. We are both hip-hop heads. We love the rap music, freestyle battles. We were teenagers when Eminem did the 8 Mile movie that blew our minds, and that brought us to Urban Roosters. Urban Roosters, as we try to tell people, it wants to become one of the biggest media company in the world, focus on creating content and generating a community around the hip-hop culture and the rap music. We started by professionalizing the freestyle and the rap battle scene, which is a really, really niche and underground community inside the hip-hop culture. And nowadays, we want to become the MTV of the next generation.
It's really incredible, and I remember the first time I first heard of Urban Roosters, and I remember they positioned it as a sport competition.
Yeah.
But it's not sports because it's music. So can you take us through what competitions are you running, and a little bit the format of Urban Roosters?
So the FMS, as we call it, or the Freestyle Master Series, it's kind of the NBA or the UFC of rap battles. As I said, it all started with our passion for the hip hop and the rap battle scene, we saw that since Eminem, or really prior to Eminem, there wasn't really a profession or an industry around the rap battles. It was just a hobby, like if you like to surf or skate, but that was the end of it, you know? You just do it for the passion and because it's your hobby. What we tried to do with the FMS in the past 6 years now, is to transform that hobby into a profession. A profession with a structure, just like any other sport league, the NFL or the NBA's, where any player, they sign a contract with us, they earn a salary to compete, and then you have like a competition, a league structure that rolls out during a whole year or a whole season. Prior to Urban Roosters, for people to just have an idea, the rap battles, and in the countries we doesn't operate right now, the rap battles is still just a hobby and a tournament you do once a year or once a month when you have your spare time. And what we done was transform that into a full season. Right now our season, it's 6 events in a country. It's a national leagues where the top 10 players, they compete on a national level to see which one is the best one, just like the NBA with you have the regular season, then you have playoffs and finals. And at the end, they are all trying to get, you know, they are all trying to become the winners and win the championship ring.
So you're currently operating in 6 countries?
We
right?
are currently in 7 countries.
7. Okay.
The FMS started in 2017 in Spain with the first league in Spain. Then we opened 2018 Argentina. Then we scaled to Mexico and Chile. Then we opened Peru during the pandemic. After that, we opened Colombia, and this season, the 2023 season, we opened the Caribbean, which is the first plurinational league with over 10 countries competing in one league.
And you have, per country, you're doing, you said?
Yeah, per country you're doing 6 events.
6 events, okay.
6 of the major events. Then we have the international series, which is kind of the champions, where the top 3 players of each national league compete internationally.
Against each other. Okay.
Yes, and now we are, Urban Roosters as a company, it's pushing this movement to other languages. The hip-hop culture is something that started 50 years ago, and now it's across the globe. What we want to do is emulate the same transformation in Portuguese, French, English, and other languages as well.
I mean, it's incredible, and you know, you sold out basically all your events, and it's not just your events and the big ones that you do, but you have also the academy, and you have also the tools. You're giving rappers, freestylers the tools to reach that top level competition, right?
Yes, definitely. One of the things prior to creating the FMS, Urban Roosters was just a community platform, a YouTube channel, where we just created content around freestyle, hip-hop music and rap battles. Then we started working as a full-time job, as any other startup, where we developed a platform where people could learn and practice their hip-hop skills or their rap skills. Just like you have the Nike Run app, where you can go from 0 to run a marathon. We did the same thing with the rap. You know, you can go from doesn't know anything about rhyme, learn how to freestyle, and start competing online with other players. So we saw that, as I said, it was just a hobby, and what we need to do is make that a profession. And to make a profession, we needed to give the players or the talents a stability, first economic stability, and then also stability on the long term, not being just something that you do on your spare time, but ask then the commitment to do it for a whole season as a full-time job. So we saw that in 2015, and by that time we were on different accelerator programs, just trying to scale our online community, and we saw one of the things that most shifted our online community was the events and this passion to, you know, just push it to the next level, and as a big community, just leave our mark or leave a legacy in the hip hop history. 15 or 60 years from now, they will be studying, the hip hop 100 years, and they will see there's this small curve that Urban Roosters did that was, just make freestyle rap battles a profession and create a whole industry around. So that was what we are doing. And just after launching the leagues, what we done was just structure just like any other sports IP. We're huge fans of UFC, the World Surf League, or the Street Skateboard League as well. So we try to emulate the same thing, doing a league with events. All the events we do on arenas, just like the basketball arenas that we have across all the countries that we operate. We sell tickets, and we also broadcast our content for free on YouTube and all the other platforms. We do multi-channel live streaming because we see right now the key thing is to deliver your content where the audience is. The audience is not going towards a content. They are on different channels just waiting for the content to come to them. So you really need to push your content to find your users in all the platforms that we have right now. And that's how we scale the business.
Yeah, we're going to come back to the digital strategy, because that has been one of the keys of the success of Urban Roosters, that you're trying to get the maximum reach. But before deeping into that, how is a standard event at Urban Roosters? What format or how does the battles work?
It's way different from what people imagine, and every once in a while when we invited brands, partners or investors to come to one of the events, they think it's like, this really underground 3 a.m. No light place, but it's an arena with a lot of Gen Zs and teenagers. Our audience is pretty young. It's from the 14 up to 34 years old, majority of them. And one of our events, they have 6 to 7 battles on a day, on a single leg of our events. And it's a pretty different experience because you go to the arena, you have some activations with different brands. We have a barber shop with one of our partners where you can cut your hair and you have your style done for the night. And then we kick off the events. We have like an intro where all the MCs introduce themselves. They do a small freestyle. And then we have the 6 battles of the league.
And you have different formats for each of the battles.
Yes, like each battle. One of the things that we done when transforming that into a profession, it's just like, or we had in our mind, okay, so not everyone can compete on the same level. So we really need to push the rap battle at the battle itself to a different place. So we created a structure which is 5 rounds. Each round is a completely different way to compete. So we have like easy mode, hard modes. Easy mode, it's every 10 seconds pops up a word, and the MC needs to improvise with that word. Then we have like the hard mode, which is 5 seconds. We give themes, so you need to improvise and freestyle with those themes. We're really pushing to, you cannot prepare. You cannot come with all your rhymes prepared and written. I
remember one event where I think it was a La Liga event for El Clásico, that you brought two rappers.
Yeah.
And at some point they said to the crowd, like, take out anything you have in your pocket and we will do the rhyme and the battle based on the things that I see around. And you have someone popping out the keys, other ones popping out the phones, like a hat or whatever. And it's incredible how these kids, because there were 2 kids, like, are able to just be so creative and on the go start doing rhythms with random words. Like, I was blown away by this.
That's one of the things that when we started, and it what really captivated us on the freestyle. It's the how these people or these kids, these rappers, how their head works, because it's amazing. Maybe they don't have studies, they come from different places, different backgrounds, but their heads move on a so fast speed, and they are really good on improvising or freestyling with concepts, with words, with subjects, and talking about matters and defending a point on different matters that maybe us studying and have the time doesn't reach that level.
Yeah,
that's what we try to push always.
I'm sure there's a lot of work that you have to put in understanding the dynamics of the freestyle, but also you have to have something special like a talent.
Yes,
that it's different.
And the stability and the commitment, what gives you, it's just a place to really develop that talent. That's what we saw in other industries, like Kelly Slater, since he was a 12 years old kid, he was just really focused on performing and on surfing. That's what we try to do with the league, and that's how we really grow our audiences, because we just push the rappers to really focus on perform and on perfect their craft.
Yeah, and going back to the point of distributing the content, obviously digital and digital platform play a key role. You said that you distribute all your content from free, multi-channel, YouTube, Facebook, imagine Twitch. Tell us a little bit more about the strategy and what is your vision when it comes to and your strategy distributing the content.
So it was started pretty organically. We always relied on the social channels to really boost our content and to really make our way on growing our audience. We like to say that we are a social first platform or IP, where we really focus on the community building and on the content. We never saw pay-per-view as a way to grow. We saw that as for us right now as a small barrier when we are trying to just grow our audience and just make our content or our leagues stand out. So we really focus on just really understand each platform, if it's TikTok, what kind of content and how we can transform our proposition to that platform. With Meta, with Facebook, with Instagram, the same thing. We understand each platform has its differences between each other, and we really need to focus on how we can really push our content the best way to each platform. Trying to take the most out of the platform, understanding a little bit how to grow inside the platform, how to distribute. For us, that's the key, and that's what brought us to really grow our audience right now.
And you mentioned community building, and the word community has come up a couple of times during the conversation so far. Where and we just started. What have you done to really create that community?
I mean, it's nothing really special. It's just listen to the people. Really just make a place where everything that happens on our leagues, we try to really see what the community wants and just works with that. Just like an open source project where you have a really, really engaged community on the values and on the mission of that project. And you as a leader of that ship, per se, you just need to listen what the community wants and try to navigate the project towards what the community wants. So for us, it's just a matter to do as participative as we can our league. So for instance, there's one round where the community selects the gaming mode of that round. If it's a beat mode where we put different kinds of beats, if it's images, if it's objects, it's the community who votes and that affects the competition. So be really open on that space. It's something that really leverage the value to the fans, saying, okay, I'm part of what's happening. I'm part of the direction the league or the direction the platform is going, because Urban Roosters is really listening to me, and they really feel that, you know, they are being participative, and we are listening to them. That's the key thing. And then after that is how we can make it as engaged as we can. So we try to work on how the content can be engaging, how the histories around the league can be engaging, what our audience wants, how it's shifting the way people consume content. For instance, we saw that we are a pretty young business. We've been for 6 seasons only, but we really see a huge shift on how they are consuming the content. We're going from 5-hour events with all the audience watching the event on YouTube or Twitch to nowadays a way more fragmented ecosystem, where the kids, they are just, you know, following on Twitter, following on TikTok with micro content. And if the micro content is pretty relevant and it's happening things, then they will go to, you know, way more long format content. So try to also see how you can change the proposition without breaking the league and the brand. It's pretty important as well.
So let's say, if to summarize, everything comes down to listening and understanding what your community needs, and to understand what the community needs, it's listening, it's participation, but actual participation, like making people have an influence in the competition. And the third one for community building is basically content.
Transforming your content.
Transforming your content to make sure that, and that's, if you will need to give an advice to any brand that wants to create a community, will be basically listen, make people participate, and create the content they want.
Yeah, definitely. It's easier said than done, because
sounds simple, yeah.
Sounds
absolutely.
simple, but you know, you have your ideas, and sometimes it's hard to just push your product to the audience and see the audience it's just using it on a completely different way. But you also need to see that, okay, that's what it's working. That's what is, making all the engines move. So you really need to focus on that.
Yeah, and on the business side, because one of the goals of this podcast is to really show the business that is and the industry that is behind the sports and entertainment. Because sometimes when you are outside of the industry, you think that everything is fun, and there's a lot of hard work behind. Can you explain us a little bit more about your business model?
Yeah. Our business model is pretty similar to Real Madrid or Los Angeles Lakers, with the difference that we own and operate the 360. So we have 5 pillars or verticals. The first is the events. So we produce over 60 events during a season in 7 countries. We sell the tickets of those events, so we exploit all the arenas. Then we have the content we create. It's the second leg. All the content that we generate for our channel, but also for third-party channels. We have partnerships with the likes of TV or the public television here in Spain, where they buy the broadcast rights to broadcast our competitions. We've done some docuseries for HBO Max in Latin America, so we also do content for third-party platforms who wants to get into the audience or the community that we are building. Then we have sponsorships and all brands partnerships, from a really traditional sponsor, as it may sound like having your logo on the arenas, to really digital and niche campaigns that we can do. We can do Christmas or other, not just really focus on the event campaigns, but we can work with brands for launching products or just really targeting our audience, which is in their interest. Then we have all the talent. We are not just a platform or a launch pad for new talent, but so we try to manage and help the talent to grow, to develop, and to become influencers or stars. And last but not least, all that we have with our brand, from merchandising, other royalties and licensing that we can do with the Urban Roosters, FMS, and other products.
And you mentioned selling media rights to broadcasters. Yeah. That never is, I imagine, that never is exclusive, and you always broadcast all your content through your channel.
We do have, with TV, for the Spanish League, it's exclusive. It's an exclusive deal, so if you're in Spain, you watch through their channels. If you are outside Spain, then you watch through Urban Roosters. Okay. But we also work with non-exclusive deals as well. Because for us, it's no how just to, for instance, ESPN or DAZN. If we have our content on their platforms, for instance, for us it's a way to grow our audience, to position our brand, and to see, okay, so the DAZN audience, what's the kind of content they like, what's the kind of content they consume, and how we can create some content, not just having the live events, but what kind of content we can create on their platform to really engage with that audience, which is different from the ESPN and will be different from Marca or us or any other sport IP. So we really try to use the partners to grow our brand and to grow our audience as well.
It's funny that when you talk about the league, you always talk with sports in mind, but it's music.
It's music. Yeah, I think we are on the sweet spot where the structure is really, and the business is just like any other sports IP, with the difference that we are the freestyle. We are the football, for instance. Then you have the teams, we have the federations, we have the championships and the athletes.
Yeah, you run everything.
We run everything. But we also have the things of music, which tackles the culture, tackles the lifestyle, tackles what influence people, what is the trends. So we try to navigate the two things.
And you mentioned also that you're developing different content formats for different platforms like HBO Max in Latin America. I can imagine that with all the talent that you are scouting and that you're discovering all around the world, I'm sure you have pretty amazing stories.
Yes.
Do you have one story of someone you met that really impressed you? And I think it's going to be hard for you to pick just one.
I mean, there's a ton because, just playing what people may have in mind. For us, for instance, in Spain, the top player in Spain right now, it's Gazir, and he's one of the top in the world. He's studying physics in the university, which is completely not
linked to music.
Not linked to music and not linked to rap at all. And he's the best rapper in Spain and probably top 2, top 3 in the world. And it's, just a 18-year-old guy studying physics from Asturias, which is on the countryside of Spain. And it's an amazing story because if you see how he started doing freestyle and doing rap battle was from a YouTube video that really blew his mind, and he started doing this thing when he was young in his school, and then getting outside, Asturias to come to Madrid, to Barcelona to compete and really grow. It's not coming from, a huge urban scene where rap is all around, or he had a older brother who really listened to rap music. It's completely the opposite what you would think. And then you have like a bunch of Latin Americas, which is a completely different background. We have a guy, it's called Chang. Right now he's in Mexico, but he was competing in Colombia. He's Chinese. His mother is Chinese, but he was born in Venezuela. and he was living on the streets. He crossed the border from Venezuela to Colombia with his mother when he was young, and he was living in the streets till he started competing on the league. And now, thanks to the stability we can provide him, he has his house and he's growing from there. So it's, you know, the opposite things, but the two of them is just some example of the histories that we have behind, and that's one of the things that we are really pushing to really, you know, tell those histories, because that's depending if you like rap music or not, if you are into our competition or not, those kind of histories is what connects with a mainstream audience, and it's those kinds of histories is what really push people to, you know, follow and try to make it the hard as they can to, you know, just go forward.
I mean, it's pretty incredible, and also thinking about the social impact that you're having in certain areas of the world where you have communities that are in a very disadvantaged position.
Yes.
And through freestyle, thanks to the business that you built, you can get people out of the streets and
give them. And with most of the countries that we operate in Latin America, one of the things that we really work is with institutions like governments or those types of institutions to not just do an event on the weekend in Lima, in Peru, or in Monterrey, in Mexico, but what we can do on the city, on the week before, where we can do workshops, where we can do a lot of things to really make a social impact and show to some of the kids that this can be like, you know, a way to change your life, to change the life of your family, and to just get out of the environment you are.
Well, that's that angle. I never thought about it, but it's huge.
With a lot of, with both me and you, what we see and what we saw at the beginning, and that's how we started creating those leagues, is all the soft skills or the rap skills that you develop once you started doing freestyle rap. It's just like when you start practicing a sport. Once you start, after a month, a year, you change as a person, you change the way you think, and you change the way you act. And the same thing happens with the freestyle, with the rap or the hip-hop community as well. Once you start doing, after months and years, you will become a different person. And all the skills of, you know, improvising, public speaking, vocabulary, try to, you know, deliver a speech and connect with an audience, all those things, doesn't matter what's your profession, are some of the skills that people need to really be good at it, you know. And sometimes you have politics or CEOs that doesn't know how to, you know, give an interview, which is crazy. And you can develop those things with the freestyle.
With freestyle, I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about the importance of soft skills in general, and they were arguing that with the development of artificial intelligence and all the technology that we're seeing now, hard skills are going to become less and less valuable over time, and people will need to focus on how they can improve their soft skills to really be successful. And I thought it was an interesting reflection of and way of thinking, because it is true. Like, you can be the best. Yeah. For example, the guy you mentioned before, what was his name? The physics.
Yeah, Gazelle.
You know, Gazelle will be an excellent physicist for sure, and probably he'll be one physicist that is able to explain physics to people. So the impact he can have on the physics by just being able to explain to normal people what physics is about can be incredible, more than other people that may know more about physics, but will not be able to communicate that way.
Definitely. And I think that's another thing as, just developing a community. It's all the values, and it's not just what you're good at, but also how you collaborate as a community and how you collaborate with other people as well, which sometimes, and I think after the pandemic, people it's way more into, just having the tools, AIs, and all the stuff who really can help you, improve you. But with, the home offices, so people is getting way more excluded from a social life. So having those platforms where you can, just connect with others and share your passion and just, be a little bit more human again. It's way needed in the future.
No, it's
that's for sure.
That's an interesting angle. I never thought about it. How you could train, how freestyle rap can train soft skills.
We done a lot of workshops with companies to really do those types of things.
So you're developing a new business line.
It's kind of a small business line, but we did from when we were on Startup Chile incubated, doing the first years, came the Secretary of Security of Santiago de Chile, who told us, you guys need to come to the policy department and just do some workshop with them so they can rely and they can know how to talk to people and be less aggressive as doing some freestyle skills exercises. We done these with different brands here in Spain as well, different companies who just try to do some workshop for their sales department as well. It's pretty interesting.
Well, I like that approach. I think I think companies should continue. And going back to the different business models, you have the media distribution. You talk also a lot about sponsorship. You have a huge community, very engaged and very young, which is very interesting for brands. What do you think are the main things that brands are looking for when they come to you?
I think nowadays brands just look for other brands where they can, partnership in a way to just grow their share of mind or grow their share of market. Nowadays, a lot of brands really are focusing on the ROI and how all the sponsorships or partnerships they're doing, how this can be returned to their clients or possible future clients. I think we are on a sweet spot where our audience is pretty young. It's very digital first. So establishing the connections with the 14, 16 years old, it's what will make them buy Mercedes rather than BMW in 6-7 years from now. So understanding that the audience that we have, it's where you need to start a relationship and just, start to create a conversation with your future consumers. That's the first thing for us. The second thing that we see is how you can generate value. One of the things we really push is not just, I'll put your logo in XYZ places, but it's understanding, okay, when we sit with KFC or JD Sports, okay, so what you're trying to achieve, what's your KPIs? You need to grow or to show our audience that you have a store on each city in Spain. For you, it's important, the footfall in your stores, it's brand recognition on digital. And with that briefing, we then create a package of assets that will try to or will push towards your goal as a brand. So also really working as a tailor-made agency where how we can deliver value from your brand to our audience and how we can make and create those bridges. It's what differentiates us from other sports IP, I think so.
Yeah, because at the end, if you think about the how brands reach their audience, you need the creative agency to come up with the idea. Then you need the production company to do the advertising. Then you need, once you have your piece of content, you need to pay different platform and channel to distribute and actually be seen. With you, it's everything in one package, because you get the content production, you get the distribution, you get the creative side, you get like a 360.
Yes.
And
the target audience as well, which we already have a really narrowed and engaged audience, which is, if I ask you to describe how it's a Harley Davidson fan, you will describe me a certain type of people. So we do the same thing. We really have a pretty target audience.
So you know already the profile of your followers. So brands will come because they want to reach that audience. But I thought you mentioned one point that it's really interesting, and it's a very natural evolution, and I think it's where the sponsorship world needs to go, because in the past, the sponsorship was about, I have this audience, I put your logo here, and that was everything. Everything was about brand exposure. But in general, brands are becoming more and more sophisticated. And you mentioned something that I thought was very interesting, that first you sit down with the brand and you understand their goals, and then you use your platform as a way to reach those goals. So if you are JD and you have a shop in Madrid and you have your event in Madrid, you want to see our activated sponsorship in a way that drives people to the shop or drive people, I imagine, to the website, because you have both worlds, the physical and the digital. How are you structuring your digital activations?
The way we structure, we have a creative team and a BI team, which is the two most important party of our company, where we can really understand and work with all the data we pull from our social channels, our events, how we can structure and understand our ecosystem, where it's our fans, what's working, what's not, and then our creative team delivers the creativity, where so we have this brand, how we can achieve those goals. It's like how we can merge the needs, the data that we have, how we can pull out a strategy that works. That's how we operate. It's pretty similar to an agency or a creative agency, where we really need to understand and be on the shoes of the client to see where are their pains and how we can work on solve those pains.
And I imagine you have from all the different sources of data, from digital, from the events, you have a centralized place where you have all the information and a business team that is analyzing that information.
Yes, that's with our BI team. What we done was really create a huge dashboard where we just put together all those data and just analyze what's happening, what's trend, what's working, which artists works for what type of content or what type of brands, and just try to narrow down all the data that we have on a way that the creatives or strategic people can really understand how to deliver value to the business.
Well, that's pretty impressive. And how do you structure when a sponsor comes to you? You're very tailored. You don't have like a standard sponsorship that you see other sports properties. You have like gold sponsor, silver sponsor, platinum sponsor, like these different layers, and everyone seems to have like a very close offer. You don't have that.
No, actually, what we do, some business cases, and it's weird because we do have some. It's sort of packages, but it's just an idea, because on the first conversation, the brands doesn't know we are not like football, for instance, so they doesn't know if they are the only ones sponsoring or there's a structure with other brands and partners, how that structure works, the CPMs, all the economics behind the value of a package. So we try to just, This is what we do in event activation. This is digital. This is content. Just show a little bit of what we can do, and then we say, okay, so this is just a window shopping, as we say. So tell me what's your problem, and we will come back with an idea that works or fits your needs.
So you have one foot on the traditional sponsorship. Let's
we need to show a little bit because it's the way brands operate and it's the way they can really understand a little bit. Okay, but this is 10,000, a million, 2 million. What we are speaking, what they're gonna give me, and with that, then we work on how we can deliver the value.
So would you say that explaining your offering, it's one of the biggest challenges that you have when it comes to sponsorship?
It's one of the biggest, and also because the music business and the sport business, the selling propositions, it just work completely different. It's like yin and yang.
Yeah.
When you speak with festivals and music propositions, they're just, you have your logo here and on the stage and it costs XYZ, I will give you some tickets. And when you go to the sports or teams, it's a whole lot of data and it's a completely different way to structure a partnership deal. So we are also on the middle, as when we speak to companies, they think we are way more as the music, where it's just chaos, and they see the structure just like Manchester United, for instance, and they just say, "Wow, really? I understand now. So wow, this is just so well organized how you guys operate, and it's pretty clear how we can match." So we are also surfing these two waves per se.
And Pedro, what's next for Urban Roosters? Well, when you look into the future, you want to become the biggest hip hop communities. You talk about the legacy that you want to leave when people study hip hop in 100 years' time. Urban Rooster will be there next to Tupac, Biggie Small, Jay-Z, and all the big rappers that changed that shape basically the culture. So what's next for you?
We have 3 biggest challenges. The first and foremost is how we can, keep growing our territories. We are currently the #1 platform in the Spanish-speaking community. Mm-hmm. It's still, we need to go to the US, so we're focusing how we can enter the US market. We first Spanish-speaking IP, Spanish-speaking league. The second goal that we have for the future is how we can professionalize and transform other territories, other languages. The Brazilian, it's over 6 million people really into the rap battle, and it's still a hobby. The rappers doesn't earn a salary to compete. We see the same thing with the English speaking. We see the same thing with the French. So the second goal is how we can scale our platform internationally and how we can solve the problem of the French, the Indians, the Chinese eminents that just want to be, a profession and live their lives being, a rap star of battle rap. And the third is how we can leverage more content to our already existing audience of 26 million fans. How we can give them more content, other kinds of content, podcasts, cartoons, docu-series, how we can leverage more content, not just talking about freestyle rap, but hip-hop, sports, what kind of content our audience wants to consume and how we can boost that as well, understanding that we are already one of the biggest media channels.
So your vision also is to go beyond just the music or the freestyle rap, but become like the platform for the urban culture.
Yeah.
So that goes from fashion to sports,
snakes,
to anything.
Graffiti, music, where the next big thing are. that's where we want
Yeah,
to go.
when you develop the Chinese FMS, it will be fun to see the international series between a Chinese and a Spanish. That will be interesting. And one of the biggest challenges, in my opinion, that the sport industry is having right now, and if you think a bit about traditional models like traditional sports like football or basketball, basketball have been pretty good, especially with the NBA. And some other sports like fighting are very appealing to young audiences, but one of the biggest challenges that the sport industry is going through is, how are we going to engage these younger audiences? What do you think they can learn from your experience? Since you position yourself as a sport competition, what have you done, or what do you think are the key of your success with the younger audience?
I think it's understanding our target audience. It's first, and also understanding that we are competing for attention. Doesn't matter if I'm La Liga, if I'm Urban Roosters, or if I'm a Netflix. We are competing for the same audience and for the attention of the people. So try to break the barriers. I mean, for us it's easier because we are the underdogs, and we really had to move around to how we can deliver our content, how we can push our content to compete with other players, and that's why we push to social first. That's because we don't believe on pay-per-view and other things, because we really need to fight for you watching the FMS and not watching La Liga game at the weekend. I think what they can learn from us is how to just grab the attention, and once you have the attention of the fans, understand what they want and just give what they want. It's really, really important to move fast, because if you lose their attention, will come any buy or another player who will grab their attention.
Yeah. And to sum up a little bit, and you talk about changing, moving fast, trying different formats, delivering the content in the platform where the audience is. All those things are things that the sport industry in general is struggling a little bit because of the legacy of all the contracts, and obviously media rights being very valuable, and sometimes when you have and as an entrepreneur, I'm sure when you have a safe revenue stream, it's hard to put that in risk. So I think that happened a lot with media right. For you, and in your opinion, what are the main challenges? And this is a question that I'm going to ask to everyone that comes to the podcast, which is, what are the main challenges that the sport industry is facing today, and where do you see the biggest opportunities?
I think the main challenges is really how you can navigate the changes on the consumer behavior as fast as they happen, because as you said, all the traditional sports, they are really tied with contracts. The majority is 5-10 year contracts where the rights are spread out with different companies. So you pay the Champions League, but you cannot distribute to digital, which 5 years ago it was okay, but now it doesn't make sense. And 5 years from now probably will be no sense at all to just have that. And I think that's the biggest challenge, how you can move things and just understand what's happening. And I think that's also the biggest opportunity for the brands that are coming, or the brands who really knows how to innovate, just like the Formula One, for instance. They are really, I think, 100-old traditional sports who really understood how to transform their competition in a way to fit the audience and fit the consumer behavior. I think there's a lot of people who really doesn't watch the races, but are following what's happening. And I think that's just a huge business case. There's others, obviously, so the brands or the sports IP, I think that's where it is, the biggest opportunities, how you can, transform. For us coming or being entrepreneurs and being in a startup, it's break things and move fast. It's kind of the mantra. So if you're not trying to killing your own company, someone will come and kill your company. So you just really need to understand, okay, this is what makes me or will gonna kill me. So how can I do that?
That's a very strong quote. And I think that something I will steal from this conversation. Pedro, thank you so much for joining us. I think it has been super insightful. I totally agree with you in the opportunities and you cannot come to this crowd attention market if you don't play different rules. If you do what everyone else is doing, it will be hard to catch up, and you have demonstrated that. Congratulations on Urban Roosters and all the luck for this new season.
Thank you, Kike.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.